value do you bring, and what was the conversation like with Pat and staying here and all that?
I mean, well, it was a full process. You know, it wasn't like I come with the building or something. You know, it's you know, coach interviewed me. I interviewed with the OC. He interviewed some other guys. You know, like I've told you guys before, man, I don't talk about myself, but when it comes to wideouts, you know, on and off the field, um, I'm pretty good at what I do. And I think that comes from my experience, you know, and I tell people, you know, I'm blessed by the good Lord to be able to coach receivers, but every day I wake up, I'm a receiver, man. It's what I am. So I understand how we walk, talk, think, you know, what we should be doing to be great, to be elite, you know, kind of been there and done that. So it's easy for me, you know, it comes easy. Thankful to be back. You know, who wouldn't want to be here, man? It's like Disney World. It's like the greatest place on earth. You know, there's no place I'd rather be at this point in my life. You know, and were there some other opportunities? Absolutely, there was some other calls. But this is a place that I wanted to be. And, you know, I want to be part of the solution, you know, of getting our program back to dominance. And we're not far away. We're not far away at all. And we got the right guy with great energy, holding the building accountable, holding the guys accountable, practicing like pros, you know, practicing like every day is a game, you know, meetings, the intensity, you know, the energy he brings at 5 a.m. in the morning is incredible. I mean, whatever he is putting in his coffee, I need a little bit of that, you know, but it's been phenomenal. And the guys, you know, this is what it's about. This is what football is about.
When you're retained like that, does it say something to the guys you coach that we're doing something the right way?
You know, I feel like that. You know, I think it says something to the guys I coach, the people outside of the building. You know, because if you're not doing it the right way and you're not getting it done, then, you know, next man up. You know, and that goes for, you know, players, coaches. There's a accountability for us all. You know, so every single day, man, I'm attacking my job. I'm attacking my role of developing receivers on and off the field, and you know, we're gonna put a great product on the field.
Did you know Pat at all before? I mean, obviously he was a little after you playing wise in the Big Ten, and I just wondered if you had many dealings with him at all.
Not any big time interactions or anything. You know, I mean, obviously he was a tremendous player. You know, it's football community or fraternity is pretty small. You know, so guys know of each other, but you know, we had never really had any big time conversations before then. You know, maybe a handshake. You know, we played Northwestern or something, but you know, knew he's a tremendous guy, tremendous coach. You know the things that he did at Northwestern with I wouldn't call them, you know, limited, but the guys that he had to choose from, you know, just because of their academic standards, and to go out and, you know, win the Big Ten championship, to compete every year, put tremendous teams on the field, you know, speaks to his greatness as a coach, and as a leader, and you know, and the things that it takes to have a winning program. You know, he's a winner, so winners know how to win. You know, so that's a big deal.
You said something a second ago about that we're not that far away. Like, but when you've had your feet on the ground here for a little while, and you've seen it, and you've seen different teams and different iterations. I'm wondering, like, what does not that far away mean to you?
Not that far away from me means I think we got the right personnel. I think we got the right leadership. I think we got the right approach to, you know, I think the more you understand the Big Ten, you give yourself a better opportunity to go out and win and compete against Big Ten teams. You know, Fitz got a tremendous understanding of what it takes in this particular league to win. Like, one of the first things he came in and attacked was, you know, our size. You know, he talked about it openly. So we went out in the portal. It wasn't about going out getting little cool wideouts that can run around, and you know, we're like, where's the biggest O line? Where's the biggest D line? Let's get back. This is what Michigan State has looked like over the years. We're gonna get back to that. You know, that when we come out the tunnel, you know, we won't lose the look battle. You know, and that really makes a difference. You know, in this league, third and fourth quarter, teams, if you're small, teams just start leaning on you. They're cool with running the ball. You got teams in this league cool with running the ball 20, 30 times in a row if you can't stop them. So, and if you can't run the ball, then, you know, and teams can pressure you with 4 guys and drop 7, they'll do it all day. So he understands that, and those are the things that we initially attacked as a staff. And then from there, you kind of build out, you know, you'll get a skill guy here, you know, and kind of piece it all together. But it starts up front. And that was, you know, a conversation that he had with, you know, pretty much everybody in the building.
I guess that kind of informs the question I wanted to ask you about where your room stands, and with all the changes, the guys who came in, what do you notice about your group, and what do you want to see from them in this spring ball?
Well, I mean, I guess the first thing you notice about them is youth. You know, we're young, and what I mean by that is there's not a lot of playing time. You know, when you check those boxes of guys that have really had significant playing time, you know, in the room, there's some guys that I feel like that are ready, you know, that have worked their tails off and that are continuing to push, and it's their time. But just to say, you know, we got 3 guys that have played, you know, 30 games or something like that, you know, we don't have that right now. So every day is that challenge for them, you know, to, you know, coaching and practicing is to practice at that game level and to learn how to push themselves, you know, through the wall. You know, there's going to be times out in Spartan Stadium where, you know, if you haven't really been out there, or you've been, you know, physically or mentally drained and you haven't pushed yourself through that wall, if you don't know what that feels like, then you can't do it out there. So we're constantly right now, that's my job, is to get them to get to the wall and then actually push through the wall and succeed and understand this is what it's going to take to win on Saturday. You're not just going to show up and just be okay. You got to show up and be exceptional. You got to excel at your role. You got to win your one-on-one battles. You got to be a dog, you know, and that's what we're doing right now. Building dogs.
I'm sorry.
It's all good.
With Nick, I mean, you obviously went through somewhat similar thing with Keon, but I have a guy for 2 years that, you know, you recruited, invested in. I mean, it's got to be tough to see him go.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this, man. You know, great kid. You know, he made what he thinks is the best decision for him and his family. You know, I wish him well. Obviously, when you recruit guys, you know, one of the biggest things that we as football coaches, you know, harp on and very important to me is relationships. You know, so is it easy to see a guy leave that you've, you know, recruited since they were, I don't know, 14, 13 years old and all that? It's not. I'd be lying to you to say just like, oh, well. However, it's next man up right now. My concern is about the 13 young men that are here now. And, you know, this will be, for me, pretty much the last time really talking about Nick. You know, I wish him well. And we'll kind of move from there. But, you know, my focus is I got 13 guys that's going to help us win the Big Ten championship. That's what I'm about at this point in time.
From a wideout perspective, what excites you about this offense? And some foundational things are going to be the same, of course, that you're teaching, but is there any sort of different emphasis or traits that you're really pushing on in this system compared to where you guys were?
Well, I mean, I just think this, you know, Coach Sheridan's offense, man, is a little more wide open. He wants to throw the rock with multiple formations. You know, we'll play fast, we'll play slow, we'll play condensed, we'll play wide. We'll go 12 personnel, 13 personnel, 11 personnel. So there's just a variety of things that we'll do. You know, we'll play fast, we'll play slow. I mean, I just like the, you know, a lot of the route concepts that we have are some pretty cool concepts. And, you know, he's big on matchups. So it's about, you know, with the multiple formations, being able to get our guys in the proper spots to get our dudes the ball, you know, and I think the players can see that already and feel it. I'm pretty sure if you were to bring some more wideouts in here, they'd tell you like it's a fun offense. And we don't have a lot of it in right now. Right now he's kind of giving the guys as much as we can handle, and then we'll practice that, and then we'll install more. So we got a lot of work to do through the month of June and July, May, June, and July. Just getting the bulk of the offense so that when we get here in the fall, we can hit the ground running.
In terms of professional development, for you to go through another offense that you've got to learn and then teach, the value of that for you, and how challenging is that just as a football person?
I mean, from a football guy, ball is ball for me, man. A lot of the concepts, like smash in high school is smash in college. So there's a lot of concepts that you run that are the same, but it might be named a little different. I like to say, like, maybe the last offense I was learning Spanish, this offense now I'm learning French. And just learning it from the very basics. The one thing with the guys that returned, you have to get them to basically say, look, man, we need to just erase everything else out of our head, because this concept, we might have called it, black last year, but this year we call it white. So getting them to understand that and not mix the two offenses up. But outside of that, man, it's just been, just a teaching progression, teaching the guys, testing them, whether it's testing them on the field, testing them in the classroom, and just continuing to pour into them. And they've been doing tremendous.
How long does it take you to learn a new offense to then be at the level you can teach concepts?
That's a good question. For me, man, I think, coach presents it to us as a staff. I'll maybe take a day to digest an install, and then, be able to present it to the guys, and then continue. It's a continual building process for me. So every single day I'll go back and I review my notes from install 1. Like right now we're on install probably like 8 or 9. I'll start at 1. I go through them every single day. Every day, sometimes multiple times a day, especially if I get out there and something's fuzzy, which, I'm human. Sometimes the guys ask me questions, and you got to make sure you can answer them for them. So I make sure to review every single day, man, multiple times, so I can say it forward, backwards, sideways, whatever they need.
How important was it to get Krishan back? I mean, obviously you got openings, snaps and all that, but to get some experience back, and then obviously I think we're still waiting on the waiver for Rodney.
Yeah, getting Krishan back was huge. He gives us a guy that actually has some significant playing time. Tremendous competitor. Super athletic. So there's a significant role for him in this offense. Exactly what that is right now, I don't know, but I do know he's a heck of a player. He's super talented, and he'll be a big part of the offense as this thing continues to evolve. Rod, hopefully, we hear something back on him soon. I mean, for me, I think it's just it's an easy decision, but it's taken a while, which is a little frustrating, for the young man, and I want to say for me also, because it's been, it's just, I guess you don't understand when you don't get all the information, you don't understand the why or what they're looking at or what's taking so long.
Are you able to talk with him and give him is he able to do some things, maybe not practice, but is he able to
Oh no, he can practice.
Oh, he can practice.
He can practice. He's doing everything
Okay.
That everybody else is doing, because
So you're not losing time with him, it's just waiting on the decision.
No, we're not losing any time. He's practicing his tail off. He's making plays. He's in the weight room. He's in the classroom. He's grinding. And we're just waiting on the right call.
What does he have that we maybe didn't get a chance to see last year that's still on tap for him?
What do you mean by?
We didn't see him play. The production on the field wasn't what it was at Valdosta. But what does he have that he can offer that we haven't seen yet?
Well, I'll tell you what. He's a tremendous athlete, and he is. When I say he can run, he can flat out run now. He's got really great quickness. He's got good ball skills. He came here a little green. What he is though, he is super coachable. He's one of the few kids, you know, in the room that you can line up at all three positions. So it's super important to have him back. You know, he pushes the ceiling of our room to another level, and he does bring some game experience. You know, and he's a mature kid. You know, I mean, just tremendous. You know, on and off the field. So he's helped out a lot in the room. You know, just being who he is, his approach. You know, he's a guy that you know, I walk in the room, you know, he's there 20 minutes earlier with one of the young guys, and they're reviewing something, and you know, he's kind of their go-to guy because he's, like I said, he understands the offense pretty good. He picks up things. He's a really smart dude.
Is Pearson with you guys full time now?
Yes. Yes.
How's he coming along? As a guy got a little bit more involved at the end of last year, traveled a little bit, did some things.
He's been doing good. He's been showing up every day. He's made some plays. You know, he's a physical guy. You know, he's one of the bigger receivers in the room. So he kind of leans on his physicality, and he actually runs well. Tremendous ball skills. You know, so he's competing. He's put his foot in there to to let everybody know I'm part of this competition. Very good teammate. You know, been a pleasure to coach so far, but he's been, for the most part, with the wideouts the entire spring.
When you talk about it's time for other people to have their chance to step up and so forth, I can think who some of those names are, but who comes to mind when you say that? Other guys ready to?
I mean, right now we truly don't have a rotation right now. What I mean by it's time for guys to step up. I mean, I think that they've,
Like who would be some of those guys?
you know, guys that have trained and I feel like are fighting to earn that opportunity would be like Tap. Brought up Bullard, Collier. You know, we got Fred Moore came in and been doing a tremendous job. So we have a big time competition right now. You know, the young guys that we brought in, you know, Elmore, they've all flashed at certain times doing spring ball. You know, so it's going to be a great competition these next few months to figure out what our rotation is. But the great thing about it is that they're competing. They're going to continue to push the room, and I'm going to continue to push the room too.
Taplin got on the field a little bit last year. What do you like about him as a young guy coming around?
Tap is probably one of the fastest guys on our team. You know, he's a smart dude, really great quickness, you know, really good at the top of routes. You know, he's developed his body over this last year. That was one of the, you know, setbacks when he first got here. He was a little bit undersized a little bit to kind of handle the pounding of the Big Ten, but he's attacked nutrition, and I feel like, you know, now, you know, he's ready physically and mentally, emotionally to be able to contribute to help us win games versus just, you know, I got a chance to play type of deal.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.